and welcome to Beyond the Headlines. Beyond the Headlines is reaching you from Freedom Square TV here in Enugu. This morning, we want to interrogate how healthy are Nigerian political parties. It's a topic that many Nigerians are interested in. There are several political parties in Nigeria. They look sickly. Some would appear to be in ICU. Some actually comatose. Some are existing only in name and still the answer political party. And with me this morning to interrogate, to discuss the issue of Nigerian political parties is a man who has seen it all. He's a veteran of sorts. He's a social activist. And of course, he's a man who had bestrode in the Nigerian political landscape like a colossus. He appears tired from politics, but he's not tired. So my guest this morning is no other than Ifeanyichukwu Okonkwo. He has refused to be addressed in several titles. He prefers to be called Omanobi.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
First of all, I must commend you for the wonderful setup I am witnessing here today. And it's a privilege.
Okay.
Congratulate you, sir.
Okay, thank you. This is my take. Nigeria operates largely a multi-party democracy. And that is to say, Nigeria has several political parties. But for many, political parties have become mere platforms for elections. Not the ideological institutions they are supposed to be. Since 1990, we've seen parties merge, splinter, realign, and sometimes collapse altogether. Ideally, the more parties we have, the better for political participation. But the problem we have in Nigeria, that many of these parties do not have what it takes to operate as a political party. Many of these parties come into existence just for the sake of it, not because they have any ideological basis. You know, for instance, in the UK, if you're a conservative, you know you're conservative. If you're a Labour, you know you're a Labour. And in the US, if you belong to the Republican, you know you're a Republican. And if you're a Democrat, you know you're a Democrat. If you have any reason to switch parties, you must align with their ethics, morals, and ideology. But in Nigeria, it is not so. People crisscross, hypercross, wrong cross, double cross from one party to the other. Somebody has left one party to another, left that one back to the other one, left it to another party. And you ask, these parties, are they really political parties? Or are they mere rainbow coalition? To be a vehicle on election. I have come to conclude, personally, that Nigerian political parties are essentially like mass transit. If you are going to Lagos and you bought bus A from Enugu, you get to Onitsha and you develop some fire issues. You have done is enter another one in Onitsha. You get to Benin, you discover that one you enter in Onitsha is only having problem. You abandon it and you join another one. You just want to get to Lagos. How you get to Lagos is no longer important. The politician should have an ideology to pursue, and that you will stand by it. If you're an American and you are pro-life, you are a Republican. If you believe that abortion is something that you could do at will, you're a Democrat. So if you're joining the party, you know where you stand. But in Nigeria, it is not so. Nigerian parties lack internal democracy. It's an issue about federalism, imposition of candidates. There is also the issue of weak organizational structure, ethnic and regional polarization, financial opacity and corruption, and many more, and many more, and many more. I just provided the background on what is here duty this morning to x-ray how healthy Nigerian political parties are. So my first question is, in your opinion, are our political parties healthy or are they sick?
So, respectfully, your question calls for a very deep reflection and knowledge to tackle. Fundamentally, political parties are supposed to be the engine room for the nurturing of a democratic society. Incidentally, we missed that point. The chemistry of nation building, we started well by our forefathers in the 60s by creating a constitution that is diverse and gave our culture some input. So, the fundamental issue to the question you ask is that the political parties in Nigeria are not healthy and there is no cure for their malaise. Sir, with your permission, I will want to say that in the Constitution we operate right now in Section 222 of the Constitution, as amended, there is no format how you can form a political party. There's no format. If you look at it, it talks about you cannot contest election without being a member of a party. That's not a format of forming a party. The next thing, sir, is that in the same constitution, more particularly in section 221, 223, 224, 225, 226, and 227, there is a complete absence of any explanation of what is the functions of a political association or party, so-called in Nigeria. I am dealing with the grand norm we are practicing now. Then, how are political parties formed? That is the fundamental. The country will continue to have a sick government because the foundation is not healthy. You now look at association of people. People can come together to form association. We started with restriction. The designers of what I call the post-independence Nigeria, which was purely the northern military establishment, knew what they wanted. If you read the book on Gowan, you will see where they stated how they felt that they're re-engineering Nigeria so that the regions can no longer be powerful and the people in the regions will not have a voice. We need to interrogate how did we even come to the presidential system of government. Obasanjo has a question to answer because it was a design to disenfranchise. And one thing that really asks my mind or it makes me to sometimes sit down, agitate, and how come people like Zeke, Awolowo, who were the forebearers of our first independent constitution, never saw the conspiracy of the military to bring in American constitution and abrogate what they have suffered to set up. So people can come together to form political association, but they must be based on certain like interests, constituency interests, and what you want to pursue. People who are already associations or political parties may want to step back and reappraise their situation and look for like minds. The political parties, when they are formed, they partner to re-engineer the society in the design of those who are the membership will canvass within the populace. The parties have specific functions. Those functions are one, to mobilize citizenship, to create the ideology upon which the nation will pursue, to look for like minds, to look for people that has something to offer by recruitment of membership, by promoting ideals, by also canvassing and fighting for what will be on the public domain for public policy and defending both the rule of law, the constitution, and the rights of the people. So when the people who form parties in Nigeria are forming parties, a few individuals will sit in a hotel and invite themselves and they look for distributors in the states. So when you join a party, you are joining a party because the party has a prospectus of what their ideals are. I'm humbled to say that when the Babangida regime asked us to form political parties, I tried to promote one according to the
DPC.
according to law. And I was the only Nigerian who came out and said that we did not meet the requirement for the formation of political parties. And since then, there's no requirement. Requirement is that Mr. A is there and Mr. B is there. We are talking about building institutions. Institutions are not political parties. If you go to the civilized climb, issues and statements are made by the party, not by the people who run an election on that party or those who have money or those who feel that they are the stakeholders. So we don't have political parties yet in Nigeria. We still have to evolve one. So political parties have the responsibility to mobilize the citizens to go and register, to mobilize the citizens to go and vote, to make sure that issues that are beneficial to the communities are promoted. And they will go to court. They will activate the judiciary to bring issues that is going to constitute a core in the democratic process. And one of the greatest responsibility of the political parties to fight and maintain the rule of law and freedom of the people. And the parties have a responsibility that they must develop the necessary conditions for democracy. The necessary condition for democracy is that you cannot operate a party without subscription of members. Just like you have an association. You cannot join an association, you don't make application to the association. Nobody sponsors you. They don't know you. They don't have your curriculum vitae. And you have not told them what your intentions are. Who scrutinizes? Where are the biodata of the membership of the party domicile? So in Nigeria, the membership is you obtain a card and you're a member. In other time, before you become a member of a party, you must have been able to satisfy that you have made contribution in the system, that you have been able to work within the precincts of your parishes. And the party will ask people to recommend you. And there are two basic forms of political participation. One is the careerists. The careerists will those with the vision, the activists, those who can make sacrifice and become elected. Then there's the political bureaucrats, those who will manage the party machinery, It's not after you come to become the chairman and your business is to hoist a candidate. No, you are mobilizing the party membership. You cannot be in a political party when you cannot make financial contribution to the party, pay your subscriptions. And it has to be democratically open. So we have all these nagging anemic issues that is draining Nigerian democracy. That is why you cannot have a stable country. Today in Nigeria, we are running up and down without the machinery of the instrument of democracy, which is the political party, being strengthened and cultivated. You cannot have a viable democracy. We are just wasting time.
Okay. Deriving from your contributions this morning, it would appear rightly, or maybe wrongly, that the ingredients that make a political party are lacking to any of the political parties we have in Nigeria. You read them out, and as I'm doing that, I was just using my mind to examine each political party, whether it is the APC, whether it is the PDP, whether it is the Labour, whether it is the MPP, or whether it is even this one they call the ADC, and others. And I listened to you, and I feel maybe my conclusion may be wrong, that our political parties are not issue-based, they are personality-driven.
Sir, you're not wrong. The basic fundamental element of association, to go to our constitution, is like minds, the freedom to choose. There is nothing to choose. They have not presented anything. All they do is they gather with people who are wearing clothes made of 10 yards and just throw around and banter. That's not politics. The constituencies are left out as they're watching TV. So what we need is to come back and take the responsibility of what Babangida put out. Call individuals to go and form political parties. We need to begin again so that the people will take back the power. Not the formations in Abuja. That is a pressure group. They are pressure group. They are not political parties. So we need to actively, by the activists, and I like what the patriots are doing, but they have missed the mark again. What they ought to do first of all is to come down and promote membership of those ideals of what the democratic institution, the instrument of power, which is the political party, ought to be. From there, like minds will start connecting. Like minds will start connecting, and then you draw the guideline. You join a political party because your economy is low, or you are running away from the law, or you know the man who is president. If you join a party, the power to decide what will be the programs of the party relies and rests with the constituent members, not the governor, not the president, because the machinery of the party will write what their idea for the 4 years or 5 years or 6 years you're going to spend will be, and that is what you now call manifesto. That manifesto is what you plant in the bureaucratic structure of the government you inherited. It is not the people who are in the planning departments of our political government structures that will run the budget. You will mandate them with your programs. You have accountants, you have planners, you have architects, you have engineers. It is a very difficult work. Democracy is not for the illiterates. Democracy is for the elite. Because one of the conditions of democracy is that there must be the psychological disposition, intellectual disposition, and the agitators, those who will continue to agitate for excellence.
Okay, one of the things that major watchers of, well, we want to call a pressure group. Now, let's, for the sake of this argument, say existing political parties in Nigeria. One of the major concerns which people have come to identify as a big challenge is the lack of internal democracy. And my question would be, why is it so difficult for these parties, let me even put them in parentheses, at least for the parties, why is it difficult for them to conduct free and fair primaries? I have not, within my living memory, seen any primaries of any political party that have been conducted without rancor, without bitterness, without going to court, without imposition. Why is this so?
Oh, sir, I will answer this your question drawing from my experience. In when Babangida brought out his transition program, which was not, he kept changing it. From 1988 to 1989, I was a participant in that Babangida's new breed politics. That new breed politics, they created two political parties. They gave the functions of each party and what they will promote. That was a little to the right, a little to the left. I was a member of the NRC. The first contest of governorship in Anambra State was between myself, Dr. Wodo of blessed memory, and Barrister Hyde Onwaguluchi.
Okay, old Anambra State.
Yes, that was the beginning of the Envision State Republic also, and myself. The party bureaucrats were shadow elected.
What is the shadow elected?
It was shadow elected because it was Dr. Kimi and Dr. Kimi and the Anini were the herdsmen in the two parties. You get recommendation how those to appoint to control people. But I was the problem of NRC. They couldn't control me because I was more organized and more determined, and also dexterous politically than all of the people. So they refused to give me access to the party secretariat because they said I was a threat. I had a constituency, the intellectual community. I moved into the university. I intellectualized politics. I was growing, giving lecture, showing them that division I will run under the platform NRC. So it started from there. There was no primary corruption at a point. When states were created in 1991, I have to move down to Anambra to contest. The party invited me in Lagos. At that time, it was Lagos. The party invited me in Lagos and offered me a ministerial appointment so that they can give Barrister Hyde Onwaguluchi his stooge, one Senator Eriobuna, to fly the flag of the party. I refused, and I disagreed with the Kimi, and I told them, they offered me money. They wanted me to step down so that they will have easy transition in Anambra State. I'm just running on the track of internal democracy. So because I refused all their gift and pressure, by the time I will come down from Lagos driving down to Onitsha, it was 9 o'clock news. And I went into a restaurant to eat because it was 9. I drove from Lagos after the meeting. Lo and behold, my picture was on the TV that I was expelled. So they'll spare me. So in the restaurant where I worked in, people never knew that. You know what I mean? They just the convict is in their restaurant. So I left. I took a decision that night. I drove to late Dr. Ife's house in Mugu. And they were watching TV. When they saw me coming to the place, he embraced me, said, "Are you going to declare for SDP?" I told him, "No, I will stay in that party. You be the governor." I have the machinery set to torpedo NRC election. That I did. That was the reason why SDP won in Anambra State out of all the instances. So it's endemic.
So they expelled you and then expelled themselves from Anambra.
Okay, I made sure. Well, I made sure if they offered me commissioner position to I said I don't want. I have accomplished my mission. I retreated. So the ingredients of democracy is completely absent if you don't form the party from the grassroots. By calling on like-minded people to come, you write your constitution, you have to have a prospectus. A prospectus is what the people will look at and say, "This is the party I will join." Prospectus will mean your ideology, what you stand, the rule of law, if you're going to serve a position, because democracy is bedded in the rule of law. If you do not know the law, don't attempt to learn to lead people. You must submit yourself to the rigorous and education of knowing the law. I don't mean you need a law degree, because I don't have one, but I dare any lawyer to talk about law where I am. So what I am telling people that you must seize knowledge. You have to acquire it so that you can have a better society. There are very few people. Recruitment process for leadership is so difficult because here you require to appease people. The economic condition for democracy is bereft. People don't have job and you want to mobilize them. And those who are working don't have enough. If you are paid 100,000 naira a month, you can never buy chicken in your life. If you try it, you won't have any money to. So we have a serious issue. How do you talk about democracy? So we need the welfare condition of democracy. We need the intellectual condition. We need the psychological condition. And when we have enough education and put people who know their right, who understand what the rules are. People in your town hall meeting, sometimes see a man raise his hand and say, "Point of order." You ask him which order, he doesn't know, but he can be hearing point of order. So we need knowledgeable people in politics, not pressure groups gathering in Abuja. That's why there's nothing happening in the economy.
Okay, we'll take a short break, but before we do that, I'm just going to ask you, just briefly, 1 minute or two, to talk about, from what you say, the role of godfatherism.
I told you my experience.
Yeah, yes, you have.
And so godfatherism was when you do not allow democracy to grow from the grassroots. Association under our constitution is for like minds, people who believe in themselves, and they must be centered in different parishes, your local government, your state. You look out and advertise that these are things this party we are promoting believes in. If you are interested in your ward, if you can gather 10 people of like minds, particularly, you must have a minimum of 60-40 ratio of men and women, and also 60-40 ratio of the citizens who are youths. You sit down and draw up what is the immediate need of your ward. The primary school, the healthcare, the environment, and all. You cannot form a party as you are forming a church. It's an instrument of democracy. It's a foundation, it's the bridge. If you cannot build the bridge, there's no democracy. So That's why in the Communist War, before you become a member of a party, waiting for one candidate to go and bring money and give you. Well, going nowhere.
Okay, on that note, we'll just take a short break. When we come back, we'll continue the conversation. Don't go anywhere.
This is Freedom Square TV.
This is Freedom Square TV.
This is Freedom Square TV.
Freedom Square TV is your gateway to powerful business exposure and advertisement. Yes, you heard me right. I said it's your gateway to powerful business exposure and advertisement. We deliver their message to the right audience through professional media coverage, creative business promotion, and targeted advertising solution. Partner with us to grow your brand, boost and increase your visibility.
Freedom Square TV delivers accurate, timely news covering politics, business, and society, keeping viewers entertained, informed, and empowered every day. Keep watching Freedom Square TV.
Freedom Square TV, where script comes to life.
You are still watching Beyond the Headlines on Freedom Square TV, and my guest is still Mr. Ifeanyichukwu Okonkwo. Before we went on that short break, we talked about godfatherism and money politics in Nigeria. My question now is, I'm sure you must have studied Nigerian political parties. You talked about prospectus and constitution. Would you honestly say that what they have or what they parade can be called constitutions? Are they made just window dressing?
There's a big difference between a prospectus, manifesto, and constitution. First of all, like minds within the parameters of Section 39 of our Constitution and Section 40, people can come together and promote the ideals that they feel they need in their specific parishes. In doing that, you can also canvass for other people to join you because we have a federation in Nigeria. Each of the units, the local government, the state, must write out what the needs that brought them to want to follow this new political party. This party believes in rule of law. This party believes in less government. This party believes in open society. This party believes that there will be democratic process of selecting leaders. They will also go and recruit. You do your own resume of what you want. And at the convention put together, the party will put out a perspective of what the party stands for, believes in. The constitution of the party will take its root from the national constitution and other laws. The only part of the constitution that concerns the party is their functions, the responsibilities of membership, and how long you'll be a member before you can take benefit of the membership. And the ability of the party to even pursue economic interests for the enhancement of its members, opening up a bank, creating opportunities so that they can get more members. At the convention, the party sits down, looks at the national economy or the state economy or the local government economy and say, this is our manifesto. The manifesto will not be one uniform manifesto. The manifesto will reflect the tiers of government where you're competing. There is no intellectual content in Nigeria Political Commission. All they do is gather that people who have money, you need money to other. If we have an association, the local associations we are all familiar with. Who are the godfathers? Who raises the funds? The membership contributes. You cannot be a member of a party. No, tell me everybody, including the governors. Let them show you the application form they fill to become member of any of the parties.
Okay,
Who recommended them?
let me just ask you one very important question, because we the one. When people get elected as governors, especially in Nigeria, president, they automatically assume a totalitarian control of their political parties. They become, quote and unquote, the Hitlers of their parties. They dictate, they don't consult. They make and don't make. Is this in conformity with what political leadership should be?
All these things goes to one remedy. We don't have political party. They call it vehicle for seeking office. I call them pressure group. So the party needs to recruit bright minds. Look for people who have something to offer. If you become a governor, what is the party's perspectives and mandates or you are implementing? The membership collapses. They go home and watch their governor on TV. The governor is there running the government the way he wants. He decides what to do. He's telling you he's doing 4 agenda mandates, 10 agenda mandates. Because the parties are dead. Which of the party secretariat is functioning? Political parties employ accountants, they employ planners, they employ architects. They should be building their secretariat, building their office. They employ researchers, people who will sit down and think out how the party can grow and make this. And the party putting up a governor from their constitution, from the one, will create opportunity that the governor, according to our constitution, governor is not a military administrator. Some of these governors are so naive that they make announcements. Go to Benin. Somebody says, if you don't see me, you can't come to Benin. Who gave him the power? They operate through a legislation. He did not make an executive order. So that's also very good mark of the law. So what I'm saying, that you are a governor, the party members don't sue their governors. These are there. These are the intellectual and psychological disposition for democracy. They are lacking. We don't have political parties, we don't have pressure groups.
Okay, during the last administration, it was at that time of the 2023 general election, we saw the End SARS movement. And in the current administration of Tinubu, we also saw End to Bad Governance and a routine for good governance. It would appear that those movements were youth-oriented, youth-championed. In your opinion, are these parties in Nigeria doing enough to include the youth and women in their decision-making? That's number one. What is preventing the rise of new generation political parties with credible candidates? The type you said the first question was on, are the parties doing enough to include youth and women in decision-making? The second is, what is preventing the rise of new generation political parties with credible alternatives? As it were, Labour tried to do that, but I'm not sure. Labour is, what is in the emergency section of the hospital? I don't know which one Labour is now. Now, can political reform, the last one of this three-barrel question, can political reform happen within the current political system? Or do we need something radically different?
Sir, I will permit me to. I won't discuss Labour Party.
And this is Labour.
The Labour Association is overreaching themselves. They don't have the capacity to form a party. I say categorically, I want somebody to challenge me so that I will open up what they don't know. If you are a pressure group already, stay where you are. You can influence the policies and programs of the party. Well, what are you coming in, referee? You have him whistle in one hand and you're coming to play. That is for another day. Sir, the youths have no role in Nigerian political development because there is no program, there's no movement. So how do you, because you are under the age of I think 35 or so, and you wear t-shirt, you think you are invited to the table. No, they're using you for something else because there's no idea that anybody is promoting. The first issue is how do you recruit membership? How do you recruit membership? You don't recruit membership by going to your local people and ask youth to come out and you give them a carton of beer and say, come, we must go. And if you want to build a good nation, you cannot talk about is my turn or is their turn. Because it's like you're building a football team, which Nigerians are used to, and you want to restrict the recruitment of your players. Or sometimes I sit down and some people say I'm retired. I'm not retired. The only thing is, it's so confusing that we don't have thinkers. So if you say you are zoning to this man, and zoning to, so you have eliminated the virtues of even coming as like minds. So because we have a serious problem, the first thing we do now is the situation Nigeria is in. We are looking for who will help Nigeria. That who cannot come when we have no political instrument. The political instrument I see is only the patriots. But the patriots are being very intellectual in their approach. You have to come down and get people who, the foot soldiers that will disseminate what military has done to Nigeria. Without it, you are talking, we got to bring Pope to come and run Nigeria's economy. First of all, you see them in a room. The average material they sow in what they are wearing is 10 yards. And you are talking about the economy. So I'm talking about how do we do the right thing. You're just wasting time. So we need a rethink. We need new men. We need Babangula's new breed is still in currency. We need new men. If we don't have a political instrument like the patriots are promoting, but they are being too intellectual. They must come down, bring out all those money they have packed, bring it down to mobilize the people. You can't do this thing with television. You have to come down and get men who will go and fish, men and women, and show them their perspectives. The next thing is that is where the youths will have a window to participate. And women, how can you deny your women opportunity to bring their brain to the table? And you say you're running a government. So, and this issue of big man or strong man politics will continue because we are looking at personalities. There is no system. None of the governors in Nigeria, including the president, has a team. Tell me one person you know his phone number and you call him and complain about anything and anything gets done. They're not leaders. These are dealers.
Okay, they are not leaders. They are dealers. That's a strong one. Now, barely 1 month ago, so we began to hear in Nigeria of what they call coalition. An example of Mr. A, who was a founding member of PDP, who left PDP for another party. I said PDP was a dead vehicle. He came back to PDP. And now he's out of PDP, for example. You also have one man who was a governor. I say any day I leave this party, I will never play politics. He left the party went to PDP, from PDP to Labour. You have men who have founded, so to speak, what we call pressure group, what we call political parties. But today they have gone from one party to the other. So what people will prescribe as, not minding my language, political prostitution. Now there's a coalition. Do you see any good coming out of this political gerrymandering?
So, with the greatest respect to men and women who are involved in coalition, there is nothing wrong in coalition. But the fundamental issue, the chemistry of the coalition is not known. If the coalition is to remove APC from the federal government, it's not a sellable, it's not something you can sell. What is the prospectus of this amalgam, the new vision you have for Nigeria? That is what you're collating on, bringing people together. And then you go and begin to tell the people who will be constituent members to key into what you're saying. Coalition is not that I was in PDP, I'm now in APC. Absolutely don't make sense. Coalition is show me your report card. This is what we are going to canvass for a new country. And this new country will remove all the vice that you have been suffering. Then the people you are mobilizing will key into what you're doing, and everybody will start doing that in their communities. So I wish them well. They're running for office, they will still the same vehicle they're using, still the same drivers, and I don't believe that politics is for youth. It's all, even if you're 100 years and you're still mentally alert and you have something to contribute, the only thing is that you must know the role you can now play when you start losing your agility due to age. And then by our culture, because politics also recognize culture, by our culture you defer to certain things. I don't believe in zoning because this is one machinery that have set this country back.
Okay. As we begin to wind down, I'm sorry, maybe I'm trying to box into the corner. I want to come to your state, Anambra State. Anambra is in the news for an election that's coming up in 16 October, thereabout, 7 November. I'm not sure which one it is now. But of course, do you think that Anambra politics has been played now is democratic enough? Or do you see a lopsided political gang up in Anambra? Or just discuss Anambra as it is today, as briefly as you can.
So without prejudice to my friends or those who may be injured with my comments, if you have knowledge, you can't afford to be humble. What I want to say is Anambra is a beautiful state made up of people that can be easily mobilized. But the people are sleeping. People that can be easily mobilized. Anambra, Imo, Enugu. I used to jealous Enugu State when Chimaroke was in power. Because a group of young men within a specific bracket, went to the same school, made each other well, were in the helm of power. They lost it. It was an opportunity for them to galvanize and build a team for the Southeast. Great opportunity. Anambra as a state is like the engine of drive of Igbo republicanism. All Anambra person is, according to our culture, is they want to be consulted. You need to consult them. And according to Igbo mythology and anthropology, the Igbo man fears anything that he cannot control. They fear politics because they don't know how to control, because they have something more serious they are doing, their business. If you're able to link up that governance and government can help to increase the wealth and industry of Anambra man, all of them will be interested in what is happening. Go to Anambra, they tie their roads and call the same man who kept their money to come and tie it. And they also, according to Igbo tradition, they give you gratification to thank him for coming to clear the road they do. Now, Anambra do not, because they cannot see the link between their economic power and the government. So they turn their back to government. So that is why we have a problem. Everybody coming to Anambra will not be able to sit down like a team, because we have very good players. All we need to do is to say, look, you be the captain. I know you're good here. I know I'm good here. But everybody is an expert. Nobody mobilizes each other. And just recently, our brother was the person who brought the platform which the coalition is being built. And nobody is celebrating him. See, this is the people. They don't understand governance. Because they feel government is for those who don't have work. They're all busy. They're all doing politician review, everything. At the end of the day, for example, we have no idea of how to secure power. Our brother is in the forefront today as a political careerist. But who are the people around him? Nobody.
If I may ask, and on a personal note, I ask you to very honestly assess the current government in Anambra State, a fair assessment in terms of consultation, in terms of achievement, in terms of prospect for re-election. What would you say?
With respect to you, sir, I would define. The reason why I'm declining is not because I'm afraid to. I have pending lawsuits,
Okay, you have
against the leadership, the governor, and the governor. So I will not be kind to him. So
on that note, Mr. Ifeanyichukwu, I want to thank you so most sincerely for your expertise. It's always a delight to have you. I wish time could allow us to continue on and on and on and on. And of course, there's always another thing. As the was now another native on that. Our studios will be open, and as issues emerge, we'll also find time to consult. And I appreciate you, sir. Thank you very much. And to those who have been watching us, let us say very emphatically that political parties must go beyond power grab and become institutions that deepen democracy. That is what we learned from Ifeanyichukwu Okonkwo. Political parties must go beyond power grabbing, and they must become institutions that deepen democracy. It's on that note that we'll say good morning once more, and join us same time tomorrow for yet another interesting edition of Beyond Headlines.